The world isn't what your parents told you it was. It isn't a place where the good always win, or where hard work is its own reward. It is a game of masks, hidden motives, and psychological leverage. Most people spend their lives as NPCs, background characters in a script they didn't write, reacting to forces they don't understand. They feel a vague sense of being used, but they can't see the strings. If you're tired of being the puppet, it's time to look behind the curtain. There are psychological laws that govern human behavior that most people never learn. Not because they're secret, but because knowing them forces you to see the world as it really is. And for most, the truth is too uncomfortable to bear. In this video, we are going to strip away the delusions. We are going to explore the 13 laws of dark psychology they don't want you to know. Transformation starts here. But be warned, once you see these patterns, you can never go back to being the person you were yesterday. Introduction. To understand power, you must first accept its nature. Power is amoral. It doesn't care about your intentions or your good heart. It only cares about the effect of your actions. Thinkers like Niccolo Machiavelli and Robert Greene understood a fundamental paradox. If you try to be good all the time in a world where so many are not good, you will be crushed. The old aristocratic courts were the ultimate testing ground for this. On the surface, they represented the height of civilization and refinement. Underneath, they were a cauldron of dark emotions: envy, lust, and hatred. Today, the court has just changed its shape. It's your office, your social circle, even your family dynamics. The rules are the same. Everything must appear civilized and fair, but those who play by the literal rules are the first ones eaten alive. This isn't a guide on how to be a villain. This is a manual for self-defense. To survive a civilized war, you must master the arts of indirection. Over the next hour, we'll break down 13 laws derived from the most effective and dangerous strategies in history. These laws will teach you how to see the iron hand inside the velvet glove. Let's begin. Law 1. Conceal your intentions. Philosophical foundation. If people have no clue what you are up to, they cannot prepare a defense. This law is rooted in the strategic use of smokescreens and red herrings. In the game of power, honesty is a blunt instrument that bloodies you more than it cuts your enemy. Most people are open books. They blurt out their feelings and plans because it's easy and makes them feel authentic. But the powerful understand that being predictable makes you a target. How it's used against you. Consider the decoy tactic. Someone in your life might focus your attention on a minor goal or a false desire to distract you from what they're actually doing behind your back. In a negotiation, an opponent might act interested in a deal they don't want, leading you on a time-consuming wild goose chase while they secure a better position elsewhere. They envelop you in smoke, and by the time you realize their true goal, it's too late. How to recognize it. Watch for people who are too loud about their goals, or who exhibit false sincerity. If someone is constantly talking about their values and their honesty, they are likely using it as a decoy to hide their roguish qualities. Pay attention to the smoke. If someone is making a lot of noise about a trivial issue, look at what they're doing in the areas they aren't talking about. Defensive strategy. The best defense is to become a detective of the right moment. Never take appearances at face value. Force yourself to doubt reality. Constantly imagine that appearances are concealing something else. When someone tries to draw you into their narrative, keep your distance. The less interest you reveal in their decoy, the more superior you seem, and the more likely they are to slip up. Law 2. Selective honesty to disarm. Philosophical foundation. One sincere move can cover over dozens of dishonest ones. This is the Trojan horse of psychology. Sincere gestures bring down the guard of even the most suspicious people. The goal is to open a hole in their armor so you can manipulate them at will. How it's used against you. The master con artist, Count Victor Lustig, once returned $50,000 to the gangster Al Capone, claiming he had failed to double it as promised. This act of honesty completely blinded Capone, who actually gave Lustig $5,000 for being such a good man. People use small acts of kindness to make you feel like they're your protector, only to take everything once your guard is down. How to recognize it. Be wary of sudden, unearned generosity or a sincere confession that happens just when you are starting to doubt someone. If a person you don't fully trust does something good that doesn't benefit them, ask yourself, is this a distraction? Is this the one honest move intended to cover a dozen future lies? Defensive strategy. Accept nothing for free. What is offered for free is often a trick or a hidden obligation. By paying your own way, you stay clear of the gratitude trap. If someone gives you a gift, view it as a weapon. Thank them, but remain alert. Don't let your suspicion muscles relax just because of a polite gesture. Law 3. Discover the thumbscrew. Philosophical foundation. Everyone has a weakness, a gap in the castle wall. Usually this is an insecurity, an uncontrollable emotion, or a secret pleasure. Once you find it, it becomes a thumbscrew you can turn to your advantage. This law is about the mastery of psychology. How it's used against you. Manipulators look for emotional voids to fill. If you are insecure, they offer social validation. If you are unhappy, they find the root of that misery and offer a false cure. They watch your unimportant gestures, how you tip a waiter or what makes you laugh. These small details reveal your hidden messages and weaknesses. How to recognize it. Pay attention to anyone who seems too interested in your past or your insecurities. Do they flatter you in the exact area where you feel most uncertain? That's a probe. If you find yourself revealing secrets to someone you've just met, they have successfully opened you up using the appearance of a sympathetic ear. Defensive strategy. Control your emotions. An emotional response is the single greatest barrier to power. If you can stay calm and objective, you leave no chink in your vanity for them to rattle. Practice formlessness. Don't take a shape that people can grasp or use against you. The more mysterious you are, the harder it is for anyone to find your thumbscrew. Law 4. Seem dumber than your mark. Philosophical foundation. No one likes feeling stupider than the person next to them. The trick is to make your victim feel smart. Not just smart, but smarter than you are. If they believe they are superior in intelligence, they will never suspect you have an ulterior motive. How it's used against you. Con artists Arnold and Slack used this to fleece millionaires by acting like clodhoppers and naive peasants who just happened to find a diamond mine. Their air of complete naivete made the sophisticated financiers laugh at them behind their backs, while those same financiers were being robbed blind. How to recognize it. Beware of the person who seems magnificently dumb and docile. Just because someone is bumbling or asks dumb questions doesn't mean they aren't calculating. A sheep's skin is the perfect cover for a fox. Watch for the opossum, the creature that plays dead or acts stupid to avoid being targeted. Defensive strategy. Never underestimate anyone, especially those who seem harmless. The wisest man sometimes plays the card of stupidity to get what he wants. If someone is making you feel intellectually superior, ask yourself why. What are you not noticing because you're busy feeling smart? Law 5. Always say less than necessary. Philosophical foundation. Powerful people impress and intimidate by saying less. The more you say, the more common you appear, and the less in control. When you are trying to impress with words, you are more likely to say something foolish. Silence makes people uncomfortable, and in that discomfort, they will babble and reveal valuable information about themselves. How it's used against you. In a workplace or negotiation, a superior might stay silent after you speak. Your instinct is to fill that silence. You start explaining, justifying, and eventually you jump in, nervously filling the silence with all kinds of comments that will reveal valuable information about weaknesses. They are robbing you of information while giving nothing back. How to recognize it. Watch for the oracle approach. Someone who gives short, vague, or sphinx-like answers is intentionally trying to seem profound and mysterious. If an interviewer or boss uses silence as a weapon, they are trying to make you wear yourself out, trying to explain their moves. Defensive strategy. Master your own silence. If someone stops talking, don't feel obligated to start. Let the silence hang. Like the mirror effect, you can reflect their silence back at them. Remember, once words are out, you can't take them back. The longer I keep quiet, the sooner others move their lips and teeth. Law 6. The dependency trap. Philosophical foundation. To maintain your independence, you must always be needed and wanted. The more you are relied on, the more freedom you have. Make people depend on you for their happiness and prosperity, and you have nothing to fear. This is the strategy of the man behind the throne. How it's used against you. Companies and leaders will often give you just enough information or power to be useful, but never enough to do without them. Like the fat cow who will give you milk for a long time, they want you hooked on their patronage. If you become indispensable, you are a godsend. But if you teach them enough to survive without you, you are discarded. How to recognize it. Is someone mentoring you, but withholding the 360 trick? Are they making you dependent on their expertise while preventing you from learning the same skills? If you find your fate entwined with someone else's, to the point where cutting them off would cause you trauma, you are in the trap. Defensive strategy. Never teach anyone enough so that they can do without you. Conversely, don't allow yourself to be dependent on a single source of power. Cultivate multiple minds. Always have an exit strategy. The only way to be untouchable is to ensure your services are so unique that replacing you would mean great difficulty for the master. Law 7. Control the options. Philosophical foundation. The best deceptions are the ones that seem to give the other person a choice. Your victims feel they are in control, but they are actually your puppets. You give them options that come out in your favor, whichever one they choose. How it's used against you. Henry Kissinger would often present President Nixon with 3 or 4 choices, but he would color them so that his preferred choice always seemed the best. This is the choice of poison. In sales, you might be forced to choose between the lesser of 2 evils, both of which serve the seller's purpose. How to recognize it. If you feel backed into a corner where every option seems slightly off, or if someone is pressuring you for a quick decision between a limited set of choices, stop. You are being put on the horns of a dilemma. They are denying you the time to think of an escape. Defensive strategy. Reject the options presented to you. When someone says A or B, ask for C. If you feel the pressure of forced time, withdraw. The person who controls the options controls the game. So your goal is to keep the initiative. Don't play with the cards they deal you. Law 8. Play to people's fantasies. Philosophical foundation. The truth is often ugly and unpleasant. Life is so harsh that people who can manufacture romance or conjure fantasy are like oases in the desert. Everyone flocks to them. There is great power in tapping into the fantasies of the masses. How it's used against you. This is the get-rich-quick scheme, the magic elixir, or the promise of a great and sudden transformation. Manipulators like the alchemist Il Bragadino seduced Venice by promising to turn lead into gold. They didn't offer a gradual improvement through hard work. They offered the pot of gold. How to recognize it. Is someone promising you the moon without the sweat? If an offer sounds too good to be true, it's because it's a pleasant, fantastic lie. They are playing on your longing for social unity, your unrealized desires. Defensive strategy. Embrace the ugly and unpleasant truth. Never appeal to fantasy unless you are prepared for the anger that comes from disenchantment. Be the pragmatic person who opts for the future and reality. If you stay grounded in what is humdrum and mundane, the charlatan's fabulous signals will have no effect on you. Law 9. Cultivate an air of unpredictability. Philosophical foundation. Humans are creatures of habit, with an insatiable need to see familiarity in other people's actions. Your predictability gives them a sense of control. To gain the upper hand, you must be deliberately unpredictable. Behavior with no consistency will keep them off balance, wearing them out trying to explain your moves. How it's used against you. Bobby Fischer defeated Boris Spassky by being totally erratic, arriving late, complaining about everything, and making terrible moves that weren't actually terrible. Spassky, a logical and predictable player, began to complain of hallucinations, and his mind was unraveling because he couldn't find a pattern to Fischer's chaos. How to recognize it. Watch for people who strike without warning, or whose actions don't mesh with your perception of them. If someone suddenly changes their style, like Muhammad Ali switching from dancing to punching it out with George Foreman, they are trying to lull you to sleep or unsettle you deeply. Defensive strategy. Don't get sucked into the maelstrom. If someone is being unpredictable, do not wear yourself out trying to explain their moves. Maintain your own calm and objectivity. They want you to react emotionally. By staying as cold as ice, you keep your power. Law 10. The mirror effect. Philosophical foundation. The mirror is the perfect tool for deception. When you mirror your enemies, doing exactly as they do, they cannot figure out your strategy. By holding up a mirror to their actions, You teach them a lesson and make them overreact. How it's used against you. The seducer's mirror involves doubling the tastes and ideals of the target. Alcibiades would absorb the colors of those around him like a chameleon. If you are sober, they act sober. If you are lavish, they act lavish. They seduce you into a narcissistic rapture where you are gazing at a double of your own soul. How to recognize it. If someone seems exactly like you, shares all your values, hobbies, and even your speech patterns, be careful. Are they holding up a mirror to your psyche to seduce you into believing they share your values? The hallucinatory effect makes you feel you're looking at the real world, but everything is reversed. Defensive strategy. Be aware of your own narcissistic shell. If you see someone mirroring you, distinguish the genuine from the false. Test them by being unpredictable. If you change your color, do they change theirs? Use the warrior's mirror to echo their moves back at them, giving you the space you need to develop a strategy of your own. Law 11. Get others to do the work, but take the credit. Philosophical foundation. Use the wisdom, knowledge, and legwork of other people to further your own cause. This gives you a godlike aura of efficiency and speed. In the end, your helpers will be forgotten, and you will be remembered. Never do yourself what others can do for you. How it's used against you. Thomas Edison hired Nikola Tesla to improve his dynamos, promising $50,000. Tesla worked 18-hour days, but once the work was done, Edison took the credit and told Tesla it was just American humor, offering him a small raise instead of the money. Tesla died in poverty, while Edison's name is associated with more inventions. How to recognize it. Watch for vultures circling above while you are slaving away on some project. Are you the blind hen scratching up the barley corn while someone else devours it? If your boss or partner is always forgetting to mention your contribution, they are applying this law. Defensive strategy. Secure the credit for yourself. Be vigilant and ruthless in keeping your creation quiet until you are sure there are no vultures overhead. At the same time, learn to stand on the shoulders of giants yourself. Use the knowledge of the past to look like a genius. Fools say they learn by experience. I prefer to profit by others' experience. Law 12. Create a cult-like following. Philosophical foundation. People have an overwhelming desire to believe in something. Become the focal point of that desire by offering them a new faith to follow. Keep your words vague but full of promise, and emphasize enthusiasm over rationality. This is the power of the charlatan. How it's used against you. Group dynamics break down the distance that allows us to reason. The warmth and infectiousness of the group overwhelm the skeptical individual. Cult-like leaders will give their new disciples rituals to perform and ask them for sacrifices to fill their coffers. They disguise their source of income, making it seem to come from the truth of their methods. How to recognize it. Is a group using words of great resonance but cloudy meaning? Are they creating a hierarchy of sanctity or giving members special names? If you feel a longing for social unity being manipulated through repressed sexuality or mythology, you are being sucked in. Defensive strategy. Maintain your reason and clear thinking. Avoid the infectiousness of the crowd. If you must deal with such a group, isolate them from their normal milieu. It makes individuals more prone to suggestion, but also easier to escape once the mask falls. Law 13. Work on hearts and minds. Philosophical foundation. Coercion creates a reaction that will eventually work against you. You must seduce others into wanting to move in your direction. A person you have seduced becomes your loyal pawn. Seduction is about operating on individual psychologies and weaknesses. How it's used against you. The sun and the wind fable. The wind tried to strip the man's clothes with violent gusts, but the man only held them tighter. The sun blazed fiercely, and the man took off his coat himself. Manipulators soften up the resistant by playing on what they hold dear and what they fear. They make you want what they want. How to recognize it. Watch for the dramatic jolt, someone who pushes you to despair, then gives you relief. This shakes you to the core and softens your heart. If someone is being misleadingly obsequious or doing you favors to win your trust in one area, they are creating a smokescreen for a later devastating blow. Defensive strategy. Recognize the language of self-interest. If someone is working on your heart and mind, they are likely ignoring your true self in favor of your psychological profile. Guard your keyholes, the doors to your heart. The truly powerful don't coerce, they seduce. Be the pragmatic person who values skill and competence over friendly feelings. Please hit like and subscribe for more content like this.